let's check out this update from Thiago.
Everyone, this is Thiago Avilla from the steering committee of the Freedom Flotilla coalition, and I'm here on board the Madeleine on our journey to break the siege of Gaza and to create a people's humanitarian corridor. Today we just had our second security incident of our journey. The first one was in Catania when a military helicopter was flying by us doing intimidatory maneuvers, and tonight we spotted a drone at 11:12 CEST PM, and the drone was approaching our boat, and so we sounded the alarm and everyone went to their positions because we just trained our people to do these emergency protocols and to do the nonviolence training as well. And so everyone went to their positions. We lost visual with the drone and the drone disappeared from our sight. And it's been over an hour now from the moment that the alarm was sounded. And yeah, we lowered the alert level right now and people return to their places. It's actually very important that we talk about this because this could be either psychological warfare from Israel, trying to intimidate us, trying to scare us, trying to make us make mistakes, or it could also be just surveillance maneuver, or it could also be an attack. So in every situation like this, we need to be very, very, very careful, and we need to do all of our safety procedures. We're doing our best here to train everyone, and to be honest, I was very proud of our team because the response time was very good. And yes, people are getting better by the day. They're getting every day more ready to do this, and people are more aware of the situation every day that passes. And it's very beautiful to see how much the world is on our back to support us, and how much people are willing to break the silence in many, many ways, so that any alert goes very fast to the world. This can literally save our lives in many situations. I'm glad that this was not an attack situation.
So that's finally some good news, although it could be, as Thiago said, it could be psychological warfare. And I feel bad ending on this, but I feel like we need to be calling people to account, as we're saying. And so this, to me, is kind of the perfect example of the bipartisan nature of the U.S. support for Israel. We're going to play a clip of Matt Miller recently on SkyNews. And this, of course, Matt Miller was a State Department spokesperson. So we're going to play a clip from SkyNews, and then we're going to play a clip from Matt Miller from a year ago.
What's going on in Gaza now is a genocide?
I don't think it's a genocide, but I think I think it is without a doubt true that Israel has committed war crimes.
You wouldn't have said that at the podium.
Yeah, look, because when you're at the podium, you're not expressing your personal opinion. You're expressing the conclusions of the United States government. The United States government had not concluded they've committed war crimes, still have not concluded that.
But your personal view is they have.
And
they were while you were there.
But let me qualify that. There are two ways to think about the commission of war crimes. One is if the state has pursued a policy to deliberately committing war crimes or is acting reckless in a way that aids and abets war crimes. And that, I think, is an open question. I think what is almost certainly not an open question is that there have been individual incidents that have been war crimes where members of the Israeli military have committed war crimes. So ultimately, in almost every major conflict, including conflicts prosecuted by democracies, you will see individual members of the militaries commit war crimes. And the way you judge a democracy is whether they hold those people accountable.
But Israel hasn't.
That's my point,
right.
Is we have not yet seen them hold sufficient numbers of the military accountable, and I think it's an open question whether they're going to.
I'm really struck that you think now that Israel did commit war crimes, and yet at the time, and I get why, but at the time you were at the podium and you couldn't say that. I mean, personally, that must be very difficult for you.
So the State Department itself had concluded, not in these, they didn't phrase it in these terms, but I think I did at the podium a few times, had concluded that it was likely that Israel had committed war crimes. But I do think it's almost certain that they have.
That's great. Great. So let's compare that with what he said last year when he was being questioned by a journalist.
This case, I can't go through all 6 of them, take too long, but one instance, a strike on the Taj 3 tower in Gaza City, the UN says was caused by several £1,000 bombs, killing 105 people, including 32 women and 47 children. I mean, should it take 8 months to make a final determination as to whether that was within
as we have said before,
law?
it is very difficult to draw fact-specific conclusions when we don't have someone on the ground and we're in the middle of an active conflict. So what we do is we gather information, we talk to independent organizations to try to gather information, and then we make our assessments. Those assessments are compounded by the sheer scale of this conflict and the number of incidents that we have to review and the limited resources that we have to make those assessments. But I can tell you there are people working hard on it day and night.
But how does it come, I don't want to belabor the point, Matt, but how does it come that UN, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty, International Criminal Court can all find compelling evidence of war crimes by Israel, and the United States, with its enormous powers of intelligence and direct contact with Israel, can't find those things?
I would say that different organizations have different burdens, different responsibilities, and we take ours very seriously and are taking these assessments very seriously and want to finish them as soon as possible, but it's important that we get them right.
This guy should know not a single day of peace. He shouldn't be allowed to appear in public without being harassed and called out for the genocide enabler that he is.
So when he was smirking and laughing, do you remember that?
Yeah,
when he was
smirk,
asked about, and this really, there has been such a shit show what this person has been saying over the last tweet. But this is a repetitive pattern, right? This is what you see over and over again. These politicians all of a sudden saying something once they're out of office, right? So the European foreign responsible person, he's doing exactly the same thing. Borrell, he was also saying this is genocide clearly after he was retired, basically. So then all of a sudden it's easy to come out, right? Because actually these people also know that they might be persecuted for aiding and abetting to genocide.
Hopefully it will be, yeah. And Tara, what were you going to say?
I was just going to agree with you and say I think it's I think it's part of our responsibility for those of us living here to make Zionism absolutely unacceptable, to make it an untenable position to have in society, to make it completely possible that Zionists are marginalized and ostracized from civil society from this point forward. And honestly, we should have decades ago, but even more so from this day forward.
Well, thank you all so much for coming on. And Tara, those are great words. We should make a short of that. And I know that, Tara, you've paid a price. You've been harassed. You're on the Canary Mission website. Melanie, you got fired over it. I'm now, not to brag, but I'm the cover of, I'm a member of the Beitar's Club of Jews who can't get into Israel. Yeah, but also they pretend to be, they're so, they're obsessed with being the new Jew, right? And rejecting the old diaspora Jew who they think of as weak. But if you're so butch and tough and badass, why would you be anonymous? You're just a bunch of cowards. You won't even put your name on anything. So you're really the weaklings that you project all that stuff onto other people. Kind of a big theme in Israel. Also, someone in the comments, I just want to correct something, which is that the increase of population does not disprove the phenomenon of genocide. Can talk to this, but that's just a stupid talking point that anytime anyone says that, it's actually very clarifying because you're just revealing you don't know what the definition of genocide is, and then you can be discounted. And then also there's someone who said stuff about, they're probably Zionist plants trying to make the pro-Palestine movement look anti-Semitic. But either way, something looks ridiculous about no good Jews or something. And I usually ignore those things, but
should be ignored.
Yeah, I guess it should be ignored, right? But it's it's funny because the most eloquent people I know who condemn anti-Semitism and understand anti-Semitism as a phenomenon of white supremacy and colonialism are Palestinians, by the way. So thank you for doing that, all the Palestinians who do that. Not that this is the priority, obviously. This is not the priority. I just happen to think that it's important that people not taint the space with that. And
I just really wanted to say something about the movement, because you tapped on this colonial movement or whatever it is. I just wanted to say, we are now 54 delegations, country delegations, as Saif is saying. It's really so beautiful. They're growing by the day. It's unbelievable. Japan, Australia to Mexico and Algeria and Morocco, and it is just simply mind-blowing, you know, how fast people are mobilizing in all corners of the world.